Welcome to the lesson on spring actuators. What is a spring actuator? A spring actuator is an out-of-the-box endpoint that shows information about your running application. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to add actuators to your executable, how to customize an actuator, and how to create a custom health actuator. Now let's look at some code. Our first step is to add actuators to our project. We're going to do that here in the pom.xml file. We're also going to add the web components. Now we'll run our application. Now let's have a look. As you can see, our info endpoint isn't very exciting at the moment, but we're going to work on that. To change the setup for one of our endpoints, we're going to do it here in the applications.properties file. This is going to rename the info endpoint to spring info. Setting sensitive to false means that we can hit it outside of a security context. And we're going to make it enabled by default. Now let's run it again. As you can see, info now returns a 404. And spring info is now mapped to info. Let's add some other information to the info endpoint. And you can see the output that we put in the properties file. Now let's look at the health actuator. Health shows a brief status of the system. Now let's see how we can add some functionality to our health check. Our implementation here using random is just a proof of concept for illustration purposes. In a real-world scenario, it's a good idea to try out some functionality of the system, such as maybe using the services layer for a read operation. This is what the response looks like when the service is up, and this is what it looks like when it's down. Now let's see how you use the metrics endpoint. We're going to start by creating a servlet that we can use to increment and decrement our counter. Next, for demo purposes, we're going to disable security for metrics. Now let's run it. Now let's increment our counter a few times. and decrement it once. And look at our metrics again. And you can see that our important counter reflects the value of 3. Now let's see what it looks like to implement a custom endpoint. Now let's run it. And there's our results. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed learning about spring actuators. If you want to learn more about spring, please explore the channel. We have many practical guides on various aspects of the spring framework.